Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he is 40 years old, he lives over in the UK, he's a bachelor, he does well for himself, makes a good living, owns his own home, and he shares his story from like 7 or 8 years ago when he got involved with this gal who he really liked at first, but she turned out to show her crazy side not long after they started dating. And within a few months, he was done with her, kicked her to the curb. And the thing is, guys, back then and still now, he actually would like to be in a good relationship with a good girl. Problem is, as you're well aware, they are few and far between. And unlike a lot of guys out there who will put up with a bunch of crap because they don't want to be alone, this guy had enough self-respect to get rid of her. And let me tell you, she doesn't take it too well because they can't take rejection. And one thing I like to point out here, this is important to the story, he openly admits he has Asperger's. So, his social skills can be challenging, relating to people, picking up on cues, things like that. And there's no greater source of confusion in interacting with human beings, understanding women, and because typically they say one thing, mean another. But regardless, this guy's living a good life, and I thought it'd be a very good one to go over here making the point, because I know a lot of you watch me. There's a percentage that would like to be in a relationship with a good quality woman, but again, it's challenging to find here in the West thanks to feminism and all that type of thing. But best to be on your own instead of inviting one in and being with a girl who brings nothing but drama, control, and chaos to your life. It ain't worth it. And you can have a good life on your own, pursuing your hobbies and interests and all that. Now, it's a little longer, but, it's a good story. So it starts off, says here, Hi SSM. This is something I've wanted to write for a long time, if only to myself. Even if nothing comes of it, it's probably just good to get off my mind. I've learned a lot from your videos, and I wish you and other channels were around when I was younger. Maybe I'd have made fewer mistakes, or at least been less frozen when it came to change. Well, man, I wish I was around, or somebody like me was around when I was younger, but there wasn't. I had to learn the hard way. Well, I recently turned 40, I live in the UK, and followed a similar path to most people. I also have quite bad dyslexia and have Asperger's syndrome, which was diagnosed when I was 12 years old, before having a label and was considered fashionable. If you don't know, is a high-level form of autism. Living with Asperger's has made social interaction, he says, I don't get cues that come natural, and I have to sit and analyze a person's face or tone or voice to figure out emotional state, if that makes sense. Understanding people's intentions and expressing my own feelings is a lifelong challenge, often making me feel like an outsider even when I want to connect. Well, man, just like anything in life, everybody has their challenges, and the best thing you can do is just practice. Anything you practice enough or do enough, guys, you are going to improve upon. Even if it takes you years to get where you want to be, you'll get better. No greater example did I ever see that was in martial arts. I've seen people walk in martial arts overweight and no skills, and the ones that stuck around for several years, they lost weight, and it's night and day the skills they picked up just by practice, repetition. So if your social skills are a challenge, practice, talk to people wherever you go, even if it's uncomfortable. Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations for a greater good is a great good. That's all I can say about that. Jeez, I just sound like Forrest Gump. Anyhow, it's something I maybe took for granted. Like many people with autism, I have wanted to highly specialized interests, and I'm pretty shit at everything else, including people. At some point, I also developed crippling low self-confidence. Well, all you can do is do what you can to improve that, even if it takes you 20 years to do it. It was okay during my teens, but sometime after university, my confidence dropped like a stone. I never had many friends, and I was never great with women or girls during my teenage years. I didn't have a girlfriend or any related activities until my early 20s at university. At university and after, I did date a woman for 4 to 5 years, and I was pretty much a virgin, physically and in other aspects of relationships. Pretty much, you're either are a virgin or you're not a virgin. It's like you're either pregnant or not pregnant. There's no in between. Looking back, things with this lady were actually great. She got me, put up with my quirks, and we were compatible physically too. But after university, it became a long-distance relationship, and to cut a long story short, I couldn't hack it, so I broke it off. Good, man. I'm sure that was hard to do, given that you had a pretty darn good thing with her. But you realized it wasn't going to work with your life, so you ended it. and you save yourself a whole lot of misery, as I'm sure you're probably aware hearing the stories about long-distance train wrecks. Looking back right now, back then I was still quite immature. That combined with being made redundant early in my career, this was just after the 2008 crash, meant I ended up without a job for 18 months, any kind of a job. Well, as a young man, not being able to find work is definitely extremely depressing and attack to your manhood, but you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. Eventually you'll get something. I've not had a proper relationship since then. When the work situation got better in the 2010s, I did get the odd date, but it was rare. Maybe one a year at most. And even then, it rarely reached a second date, so I could never build a real connection again. That's tough, man. Really it is, and I can see why you're like, oh, the hell with this. But you gotta keep on practicing. Well, there was one exception to that, and that's where my story starts. I went on one of my and only speed dating events in late November 2017. I matched up and went on a couple dates with a woman I will call Crazy Daisy, though I did not know she was crazy at the time. Yeah, they like to hide that and only reveal it when you start getting an attachment or something. Selfish bitches. By that New Year's, we were already having you-know-what at her place. Okay, you're getting laid. Great, I thought. She had a good job, and I'll tell you what later for the extra LOLs. She had a house, a car, and drove. While I was still flat sharing, I didn't drive and was just happy by getting regular sex, even if it was poor compared to my ex. After 7 to 8 years of being single, almost no dates, and not even a kiss of a woman, I was very grateful. He says things were looking up, or so I thought. The short version of the story is she was controlling, extremely jealous, and had some odd do's and don'ts before marriage. I put up with it far too long because of my poor confidence. I thought I couldn't do any better. Smack to me. Yeah, smack. But he also mentions that by April, he was done with her. So he started dating in November 2017. By April 2018, which isn't that much longer, couldn't take it anymore. That is far shorter than what most guys put up with. Most guys would go years just to get some regular ass. The long story, things seemed great at first. Well, they always do. She was nice, very caring, and we started to want similar levels of intimacy. But the mask slipped slowly, and I put up with it. I would regularly get the coach to see her at her house, which made travel sick. But when I got there, she'd be very loving, big hugs, cooking for me good meals, making me feel like I had it all. Well, that's a great feeling when a chick digs you and is really into you, makes it easy, affectionate, cooks you good food, wants to, aside from the bedroom fun, just shows appreciation for you, really likes you. That's when guys get attached. The problem is that's also when the crazy starts, because it's like, I got this guy. I got him. I can't remember exactly when the cracks started to show or the order of things, but there were a few. One, she didn't like it when I didn't do things her way. If I didn't respond to her messages or calls quickly, she got angry. Well, tough shit. I'm busy, woman. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you're in the bathroom and you don't take your phone to the bathroom. That's very rare. Everybody takes their phones to the bathroom, but maybe you don't. Maybe you're taking a nap. Maybe you're caring for your cats. He has cats. Maybe you're doing a whole bunch of things and you don't have time to respond immediately. She's a control freak. Not good. Also, while she wouldn't give oral before marriage, she still wanted sex and expected oral herself. No. She ain't getting any unless you're getting any. That's a golden rule right there. I found this odd at the time, but I put it down to being early days in the relationship. I figured she'd start to trust me more once she realized that I wasn't a bad guy. Yeah, that never changed. Newsflash, I don't care what they say. You know how many girls have said, and I'm sure many of you guys have heard this, oh, I don't do that. And yet, or I don't do that very much, making you feel like you're special. And they give you the best BJ ever. Yeah, you don't ever do that. And by the way, they'll give the bad boys a BJ and a whole lot of other things I'm not going to mention this channel on a first fucking date. Not even a date, just meeting at the fucking bar or the club, being with a nice guy. I don't get BJs, only when I get married. Bullshit. Well, my birthday was in the following March, and by then I had started to learn to drive. Well, good for you. But I hadn't passed my test yet. She had organized a small trip away in the UK and drove us there. This is roughly 3 months into the relationship. There were probably other major red flag moments before this, but this trip was the first big one. Well, guys, it's not necessarily always the big red flag. It's always the little ones that add up. Anyway, after a good day and evening, and well, some fun, she hit me with an ultimatum the following morning during pillow talk. The bullet points are as follows. She says, by November, so this is in March, I think he said, by November, as in, the following November, I had to decide the following. Number 1, if I wanted to marry her. Number 2, have kids. And number 3, move in with her. Move in with her after 1 year. Marriage after 1 year. Or at least decide on that. Get the fuck out of here. Now, he's in his early 30s, and he mentions she's a little bit older. So, to be fair, I can understand if that's what she wants in marriage, that she's not wasting her time. I can get that, to a degree. But throwing out the old ultimatum thing and pulling this shit the way she's doing it, no, not good. He says, oh, and no cohabiting before marriage. In a stern voice, I was like, what the fuck? You can't dump an ultimatum on my shoulders. And I was angry. It came out of nowhere, and I think she could tell I was stressed because she switched into the caring mode. Rubbing my back, telling me not to worry, and trying to calm me down. I explained once again that you can't force those kind of decisions. They have to come naturally. Well, in her mind, she's thinking, bullshit, motherfucker. I'm the one fucking you. I can force whatever I want because I got a pussy. That's pretty much what the mindset is. The thing is, guys, remember, they control the keys to the bedroom, but we control the keys to relationships. Thing is, most guys can't walk away from the bedroom action. They cave. I went for a short walk to cool my head, especially since I was stuck at that location and couldn't get home without her. Dude, it is no accident that she drove your ass several hours away from your home, and she's in control of the transportation, then she drops this on you because you can't go anywhere. She planned this. I should probably add I was 32 years old at the time, and she was 36. So in hindsight, I can understand why she was thinking about those things, but how she went about it was completely wrong. Yeah, I agree with you there. That's when I should have broken it off, but I didn't. Again, I thought, A, I couldn't do better than her, and B, it was still early days, and maybe she relaxed and learned to trust me. Dude, no. In fact, by you not dumping her and not putting her in her place, that made her more confident she can get what she wants. But deep down, I knew it was the beginning of the end. The next day, when we tried to have you-know-what, I could get hard and have sex with her, but I couldn't finish. Well, probably because you're like, I'm not getting the bitch pregnant. That had never happened to me before, and I had to fake it and go to the bathroom. Oh, I'm sure that was some... Well, you know what? She's probably faking it, so you can fake it. He says, by the way, I always use protection. I just hadn't thrown the condom away properly. When we got home, and the next week was pretty normal. I went to work. We talked in the evenings. I saw her at the weekend, and the week after, that's still in March, I told her one evening that I might be slow replying because I was going out for drinks and dinner in town to celebrate someone's birthday from work. About 18 of us were going. No big deal. She seemed totally fine with it until I mentioned a female name. Her tone changed completely. Suddenly, she didn't want me to go. You're going out with 18 people, there's going to be a chick there. I mean, the odds are you're going to have one chick. And she's throwing a tantrum over that. It says, just to be clear, everyone there had partners, including the woman in question. I don't remember the exact wording, but she heavily implied she didn't trust me. And yet she wants you to propose to her, or at least be serious about marriage and kids and all that shit, in less than a year. I called her out on it, and she insisted that wasn't the case. I said, if that's true, then there shouldn't be a problem with me going. I went regardless. Good for you, man. Again, most guys wouldn't do that because they're afraid to make her mad. Good for standing up for yourself and good for going anyway. Even though she didn't like that, I guarantee you she respected you a little more because you did what you wanted to do. Well, that was a massive red flag with her and number 2. But still, I thought she'd come around and trust me. For some reason, I thought it'd be a good idea for her to tag along a couple weeks later to meet my parents on the coast of Wales where we lived. Well, she'll interpret that as, aha, he's introducing me to the family, he's going to propose. He says, I lived in Oxford and she lived in a city about an hour north of me. After the dinner thing, we were still talking most evenings by call or text during my free time. I think it was about a week after the birthday dinner issue that she started moaning on the phone about only getting a 25% pay raise at work and not getting a promotion or title change to go with that. 25% pay raise and she's bitching and complaining. I think most people that listen to this be like, fuck that. Now, if this was the first pay raise she's had in several years, okay, but I'm guessing probably not. I thought it was ridiculous. She was already on way to more than me salary-wise, and she thought the reason that she was overlooked was because she was a woman and she's black. Well, if she's older than you and she's making more money than you, that is not a good place, my man. I know you know that now. But you always want to be that you're making more money. Otherwise, they feel like they're just settling. He says, for context, I'm white, not that it matters, but when you learn what her actual job is and how much she already earned, it's even more ridiculous. She was already on about 10,000 pounds more than me before the raise. I tried to be a supportive boyfriend regardless. This carried on during my workday and late into the evening. And I mean late. It was about 10 p.m. and we were still texting about this. I hadn't even eaten or sat down to relax and watch something. Smack! Dude, you shouldn't be spending all your evenings back and forth texting and calling, but obviously that's what she wanted. You gotta have time for yourself, and you gotta have time to eat your freaking dinner. So I said to her, hey, I might be slow to replying, I just need to eat dinner. And she lost her shit. Selfish, selfish, selfish. Gee, I wonder why, excuse me, that she's 36 years old and she doesn't have a guy and she's not married because she's an asshole. But I let it go. I figured by morning she'd have slept it off, calmed down, and I realized I was being supportive. And she would realize I was being supportive and that she was being unreasonable. No, unreasonable people don't ever think they're being unreasonable. Nope, she was laying on me thick in a text saying how unsupportive I was, etc. I was at work the next morning as this was going on, taking up my work time trying to calm her down. For God's sakes, man. I know that your whole relationship is brief, but still, I would have been out of there. Then at one point, I thought, fuck this shit. I'd rather be single and sexless for 10 years. Good, there you go. You don't need this. Life's too short. To cut a long story short, I broke it off with her right over by text. Good for you. I'm sure that pissed her off. You blindsided her with that. She thought she had you. Seriously. Especially after you introduced her to your parents. I just said I couldn't do this anymore and she should see somebody else that could support her the way she wanted. She took it well, said she felt relieved, and how her friend said she should have dumped me weeks ago. Okay, I thought I was free and carried on my day. That was the end of it, or so I thought. No, it's not over. Her pride can't handle the fact that you ended it with her. She still knew where I lived and that I was planning to visit my folks soon. I lived in Oxford at the time. Thankfully, she didn't know where they lived, only that they were on the coast of Wales. I didn't hear from her for almost 2 weeks. I can't remember what came first, the text or the emails. But one evening, I got a message from her saying that she was in Oxford for some event and needed help getting home because she was lost. Really? She got lost? This is 2018 at this point? Come on here. And happens to be where your parents are when you happen to be there? Her ego can't handle it. She was probably, the reason you haven't heard from her for 2 weeks, probably was because she was expecting you to reach out to her. That your life would be so terrible without her, you're getting tired of not getting any or whatever, and then she'd have you. You proved her wrong. Now she has to switch tactics. He says here, she drove a basic car with no satellite navigation, and she only just got an iPhone, still used paper maps to this point. Either way, I was smart about it and ignored her message. Good. The next morning, she messaged me again, and I think it was a text, saying, sorry for the night before, and she did eventually get home. Oh, imagine that. She also says she's driven down my street a couple of times, and that it made her think about how she treated me, and that she wanted to meet up and say she's sorry in person. No, don't go there. And she's driving up your street a couple of times. I'm probably that couple means like 20 times. Stalker. I wasn't falling for it. It gave off a major Psycho X vibe thing, so I ignored her again. Good. You're on the right track. And by the way, the more he ignores her, the more it makes her crazy. Women can't take rejection, and they either become obsessed with you, or they become obsessed with ruining you. Well, again, later that week, she emailed me while I was packing to catch a train the next day to visit my parents. The same trip she was originally supposed to come on. The email said pretty much the same thing as her text, and she sounded totally sweet, very apologetic, and said she just wanted to clear the air and say sorry, but not to get back together. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Bullshit. Again, I saw right through that bullshit. But I stupidly replied, though honestly, I'm glad I did. I told her that I couldn't deal with it right now. She was stressing me out, and at one point, I honestly thought I might need to call the cops. I said I'd email her when I got back. Ooh. I had no intention of seeing her again or getting back together. I was clear about that, at least in my own head. But of course, she didn't know that yet. She was very apologetic, and of course, all sweetness and light, saying I could take all the time I needed, etc., etc. Classic BS. That's a bunch of nonsense. The first thing I did when I got back was switch on my PC and email her, and I said to her, sorry, but I have no intention of seeing you again or getting back together. I wish you well for the future. And he says in parentheses, honestly, it was more than she deserved. But I want to be mature and respectful, because that's how I'd expect a normal, decent human being to act. She isn't a normal, decent human being. She's a bitch. She's proven through her actions repeatedly to be a bitch. Okay? So why should you, all the crap she's pulling on you, why should you do that? But you had to do it, and you're giving us a story. Guys, to all you, when you break up, you break up. You don't need a second breakup thing. Well, what really threw me off was how, after I politely but firmly said no to getting back together, her tone completely flipped. Aha! Gee, who could have seen this one coming? She went from apologetic and regretful to passive-aggressive and borderline accusatory, twisting my words, picking apart my personality, as well as my current living situation. And even using my Asperger's against me. There you go. She gets to have the last word. Her ego couldn't handle you dumping her. It felt like all the empathy vanished the moment she didn't get what she wanted, and I was left feeling more like a case study than a person. And here is the punchline I promised. Here we go. Listen to what she does for a living. This woman, the one who flipped out, played mind games, and used my Asperger's against me, was a psychology lecturer at a major London university. Using her power for evil. There you go. And she's making you feel bad. My gut told me I was either a rebound or worse, a fix-me project, or just wanted to be knocked up, or a combination of all three. I think what was going on here is she couldn't get a normal guy to be with her because she's an asshole. So she was trying all her tricks on you. It didn't work on you. You know? She thought she had an edge because you'd Asperger's, and she probably figured you weren't getting any. No offense, but that's what was going on. You know, she's not dumb. But nope, that didn't work for her. Well, you gotta understand, I hadn't even had a kiss from a woman in nearly a decade, so I was naive. I let her set the pace even when it was fast and weird. You never do that. The man sets the pace. The sex was regular, but meh. A big reason I put up with it so much is because I always wanted to be loved. Not just sexually, but emotionally and mentally. I wanted to feel wanted, like someone was proud to have me in their life. Bro, I get it. You know? A lot of guys just want some ass and that's the end of it, but a lot of guys, God forbid, want to feel appreciated, wanted, cared for, you know? And there are a lot of guys that didn't get that growing up from their family. They grew up in a fucked up family, so they got away from their family, and that's why they typically rush to marriage and kids, because they want to make up what they lost from childhood, and it's a disaster. But even though you wanted all that, man, I'm glad you walked away. She made me feel that way for about 2 weeks. And I guess I kept chasing that version of her, hoping it would come back. It doesn't come back. That version never did come back. I felt like I was dealing with someone who had two faces. One warm and nurturing, and the other cold and controlling. And the second I stood up for myself or set a boundary, the mask dropped completely. Suddenly, I was the bad guy, the broken one, the difficult partner. Well, of course, because the man's always the villain. Come on here. Everybody knows that. What a load of crap. She's the fucking villain. I spent so many nights since then wondering if she was right, if I really was the problem. Not because of her directly, but because I fell back in the old place, feeling worthless, unwanted, and unlovable. It's been so long now that I started to question if I'm capable of making a real connection, given my past and how few strong connections I've had. And while I tell myself I'm okay being alone, the truth is I do miss a connection. I miss feeling like someone sees me. Dude, okay, you are deep down a relationship guy. But what I like about you is you're not going to settle for some asshole just so you can have somebody to have morning coffee with or go to bed with and get laid every once in a while. By the way, if you stayed with her and if you married her like she wanted with you, I guarantee you the regular sex that you're having would have come to a screeching halt. And she would get it from somebody else. If she was remotely attractive in her 30s, she would have been getting someplace else. She at least would have had a rock on her finger and could show to the world that some asshole would want to marry her. But good for you for backing away. It says here, I never meant and wanted this to be a very long story. I just never knew how to change the script. And I guess part of me feared that if I tried, I'd end up back into something like that again. I'd rather be alone than emotionally broken. Right. Better to be alone than with somebody breaking you down. So what did I learn from this experience? Now he breaks this down. He says, even with low self-confidence, I still had the strength to say no to Crazy Daisy. 2, you don't have to settle or put up with red flags. That goes for both men and women. It's better to be single than trapped. Amen, brother. 3, working on yourself. Even just a little, it is worth it. Starting is the hardest part. What number are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have more faith in myself. You should. 5, people show you who they are when they don't get what they want. 6, being alone isn't the same as being lonely, especially when you're free. And 7, I still want love and connection, but not at any cost. Right. Well, back to what you said about working on yourself even a little bit. It's worth it. You need to work on your social skills. I know that's a major issue for you and challenge, and that's okay. I think you need to literally, wherever you go, talk to people, strike up conversation, as weird and awkward as it is. And if you can just get a little bit better over time, it will help. Because staying at home and just talking to your cats all day is not going to work, because they can't talk back. They'll meow at you, but they can't have a conversation. You got to work on your social skills. And hopefully in time, if you run across a chick you like, you're getting better at your social skills, and go from there. But let me finish his thing here. I spent most of my 20s and 30s frozen, weighed down by depression and low self-worth, but slowly things are changing. And he says here, well, I adopted 2 cats, Bruno and Riley. Hey, good for you. They came to my life. In September 2023, I always knew I got cats after my first home, and I had them since I was 16. Blah, 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 blah. New cats could take longer to rehome, older ones even more, so pairs of them even more. So again, but as fair as I care, as long as they have a good fur and purr, that's all I need. So he adopted 2 cats a couple of years ago, rescue cats that were older. Good for you, man. Because good pets need a good home. Dogs, cats, whatever you're into. I got 2 of my own. They're awesome. It says they were rescues from a hoarder's home with over 25 other cats. Oh my God. Poor things. It says here, I got them, they were around 10 years old, and they were a bonded pair. When I brought them home, they were terrified, angry, traumatized, and they wouldn't come near me, let alone let me touch them. I couldn't get close to them without hissing or growling or claws. It took 2 full months before they stopped running around and actually stayed in the same room with me. Dude, they're 10-year-old cats. They're senior cats. You know, that's a big deal taking them in, and they don't know you. You know how many bad things they've been through? But you're patient. You won their trust. Good for you. By early December, they started sleeping at the edge of the sofa, still distant but present. And then December 17th, something happened. Bruno, the spicier of the 2, jumped in my lap and curled up. I was ecstatic. Awesome. That's what happens. You have to have infinite patience with cats. Since then, they've been great, and they still love each other more than me, but I don't mind, blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, he's doing great with his cats. He also says here he's hitting the gym. The gym has helped me a lot. I started going December 2023, and might be my other social outlet outside of work. Work has gotten better too. Even if it's not my calling, I've worked my way to the top 15% of UK earners, but it's helped me grow and earn independence. I even own my own house now. It's not big and flashy, but it's mine. I also got a car, paid for in cash. It's a 2017 Seat Leon 1.4 liter, just a solid ride. Bro, you're doing great. You're in the top 15% earners of the UK. You own your own home. You have your own cars fully paid for. You got a couple cats you adopted. Dude, you're doing great in life. Now, obviously, I know you're still a little lonely. You know, get out there. Do more socializing than just the gym and everything, and you're going to be all right. He also says a shout out to my personal trainer, Harry, not just for helping me train, but for helping me rebuild my confidence, especially around talking to new people, even with women again. Let's be honest, my confidence is still low, but it's better than it was. Well, great. Personal trainer, man. Stick with him. He's helping you, you help him. Tell everybody you know how great your personal trainer is. It's nothing like word of mouth. That's how you can really help him. He's more than just a trainer. He's been a solid mate through these past 18 months. Awesome, brother. You are on the path to self-improvement. You're doing great. Says here, turning 40 has hit me hard, but when I feel low, I think about Crazy Daisy and the batshit crazy email she sent me, and I laugh about it, and I realize just how far I've come. No, I still don't get dates. Yes, my sex life is as dry as the desert, and sure, I want those things, but not with just anyone. If I die alone with my cat, so be it. That's still better than ending up under the thumb of someone like Crazy Daisy, or bringing kids in the world with a partner like that. Those cats are my family and friends, and that's all I really need. Bro, if you're happy, I'm happy. I know you still would want a chick, but I'm glad you're not going to just settle for any asshole that's going to spread her legs. And lately, over the past couple months, I started writing stories. Some are Gundam inspired, but really, they're just a way to get my thoughts and inner monologues out of my head. It's not fancy, it's not polished, but it helps. Even just writing this email to you helped me more than I expected. It also made me realize I do have something to say, and maybe putting it out there might help someone also feel a little bit less alone. Just something to stop these thoughts and staying trapped in my head, and maybe finally to start to recognize and reconnect with the world and with myself. Keep up the good work, SSM. Bro, you keep up the good work. You're doing great, man. I'm really proud of you. Everybody has challenges, and still you're doing great. You're in the top 15% of earners. You own your own home. Let me tell you something. A lot of people in this country would like to own their own home. They can't. They can't afford it. But you have, and that's awesome. And I'm glad you, even at 40 years, at 40 years old, the body doesn't work like it used to. It's more challenging to trim pounds, to get stronger and all that. You can do it, of course, but it's not as easy as 25. But I love that you're doing that, keeping up with it. So the next hurdle is I want you to work on your social skills. I said this a billion times. I want you to do this. Every time you go to the gym and you have your workout with your trainer and you're having a good time, talk to one person. I don't care who it is. The man or woman, I don't care, at the desk when you check in and swipe your ID and scan your card to get into the gym, or scan your phone, or somebody in the locker room. Just make sure it's not next to the toilet. It could be by washing your hands or something. Strike up a conversation. Hey, how's your day going? How was your workout? Anything. Just get talking. And then when you get comfortable talking to one person in the gym every workout, then talk to two. Brief conversations. Most people are nice. Usually people are working out, their endorphins are up and they're feeling good. Great, and over time you'll get better and better, and then you can start talking to some women, and talk to some women you're not even attracted to. Talk to some fat ass chick who's there, fine. You don't care if she rejects you. Who cares? She's you're not your type. Practice, and you'll get better over time. And then maybe you'll get to the point that you ask out another chick. And if you get rejected, okay, at least you asked. But anyhow, man, good for you. You're doing great. I'm proud of you. And again, I like the fact that even though you'd like to have a connection and get some regular sex, you're not going to bring some asshole into your life, for that. You have standards, and that's vastly higher than most guys out there. And remember, you got your two babies at home, your cats. You want to bring some crazy chick home that's going to mess up that dynamic? No. You want a good girl that also loves animals and all that. But one step at a time. So guys, there you go. Even though you don't want to be alone, never sacrifice your standards and put up with a bunch of crap. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Give this guy a shout out for handling himself well. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.